Once upon a time, in a small town, there lived a little boy named Tim. Tim was just like any other 10-year-old boy. He loved to play and have fun, and he had a kind heart. However, Tim came from a humble background, and his family did not have a lot of money. One day, Tim decided to treat himself to an ice cream sundae at the local hotel coffee shop. As he walked into the coffee shop, he could smell the sweet aroma of freshly baked pastries and the sound of clanging plates and cutlery. The waitress greeted him and led him to a table. She placed a glass of water in front of him and asked him what he would like to order. Tim eagerly asked for an ice cream sundae. The waitress told him that an ice cream sundae would cost him 50 cents. Tim put his hand into his pocket and rummaged through the coins. He counted them and realized he only had 40 cents. Disappointed, he looked at the waitress and asked her how much a dish of plain ice cream would cost. The waitress, who was busy attending to other customers, impatiently replied, 35 cents. Tim counted his coins again and decided to go for the plain ice cream instead. When the waitress brought him his plain ice cream, Tim was still happy. He savored each and every scoop, enjoying every bit of the creamy goodness. After he was done, he paid for his ice cream and left the coffee shop. The waitress returned to Tim's table to clear it up. As she was wiping down the table, she noticed a shiny object on it. She leaned closer and realized that it was a 15-cent tip that Tim had left for her. She felt a pang of guilt and regret for being impatient with him earlier. As she reflected on what had happened, she realized that she had judged Tim too quickly. She had assumed that he was just another poor boy who could not afford an ice cream sundae, and she had treated him unkindly because of it. But she had been wrong. Tim had been content with his plain ice cream, and he had even left her a tip, despite not being able to afford a sundae. The waitress realized that she had learned an important lesson that day. She had learned not to judge people based on their appearance or their background. She had learned that everyone, no matter how humble or wealthy, deserved to be treated with kindness and respect. From that day on, the waitress made a conscious effort to be more patient and understanding with all her customers, regardless of their appearance or the size of their orders. She treated everyone with kindness and respect, just as she would want to be treated herself. Years later, the waitress would look back on that day and smile. She would remember the little boy who had taught her such an important lesson about life, and she would be grateful for the wisdom he had imparted to her. The moral of this story is that we should never judge people based on their appearance or their background. We should treat everyone with kindness and respect, regardless of who they are or where they come from. Sometimes, the people who appear to have the least are the ones who have the most to teach us about life.